We flew from Puerto Escondido to Cancún, which is pretty much the same distance as flying from Leeds, Bradford to Salzburg in Austria, so Mexico is pretty huge.
The bus wasn't due for another hour, so we took this dodgy shuttle instead, which drove at near speed of light.
This is the hotel room that we stayed in. Actually a lot better than we have experienced. Even got a TV and aircon. Little bathroom there. And check out this for some shower pressure. Absolute 10. And it's got this huge tree growing in the middle of it, which is cracking all the tiles at the bottom.
We slept like a log, even though Cancun is booming till about 5 in the morning.
At which point it was time to get up and start the day.
We had an early morning bus to start our day trip, completely fueled by cereal bars.
We took the bus from Cancun to Chichen Itza, and it took 3 hours and an extra time zone to get there.
This is the site of Chichen Itza, one of the 7 wonders of the world. It was built by the Mayan civilization around 600 to 1200 AD. The design of the pyramid would boost the sound of the person talking from the top. And when people clap from the bottom, the echoed sound is a similar sound to the quetzal, a sacred bird found in Central America. And here's an example of how it sounds.
And then Jack tried for what felt like hours to do the same thing, but just kept trying, kept failing.
Then we saw this chonky old lizard running across the rocks. We were the only ones there who had any interest whatsoever.
This is the arena where the Mayans played a sport called pocatok. Imagine Quidditch without broomsticks, and where the quaffle is a 4-kilogram rubber ball. And you've got to get it through these hoops, only using your hips, elbows and forearms. And instead of winning points for your house, you just get to survive, whereas the losers get decapitated. Some good echoes there. Then on the way back, we stopped in this cute little town called Valladolid.
The town had this beautiful square. Surrounding it was lots of lovely buildings. We had a quick walk around and then visited the church of San Servasio, which dates back around 400 years.
And then as we were wandering through, we saw a Mexican spiny-tailed iguana, or as I would put it, an absolute roid head of a lizard, just casually climbing up a tree.
We then grabbed a quick drink before getting back on the bus. The next stop was Chichicam, which was the final stop of the day.
At this point, it was about 2 o'clock and I was ready for my lunch. But first we had a Mayan blessing of a cenote, which is a ceremony that asks for blessings for the cenote and the surrounding lands. They burn some copal resin and then waft the smoke towards you to bless you.
Also, as part of the ceremony, they try and make you buy loads of crud made of obsidian. But at this point, Beth was losing momentum for anything other than food.
Until... Tequila, tequila! Here we tried about 5 different types of tequila. They started with the oldest and strongest, and I struggled to get this one down.
I, on the other hand, didn't struggle at all. Then they brought out the flavoured tequilas, which were actually quite nice.
And then it was time for tacos!
Eye-wateringly hot tacos. After neatly storing our bags in a locker, it was time to visit the cenote.
And they had some lovely tunnels and gardens to walk through to get there. A cenote is a flooded sinkhole, and in Mayan culture they were considered sources of life and an entrance to another world.
One way of visiting this other world was by doing a cannonball from the viewing platform. The cenote gave us a good break from the midday sun, and the water temperature was delightfully refreshing. The water was teeming with life, with lots of fish and terrapins swimming around with us.
So after floating around for a bit, we headed back to the showers where Jack put on a little show for the local senoritas. And then on the way out there was this absolutely mac-off tree that they've carved out, and you can go inside and see right to the top. The next morning we were up early with our bags packed
and had a wander around a very different Cancun during the daytime.
Another thing about Mexico, they absolutely love the gays. Same-sex couples everywhere living the best life, and it's really nice to see. So any gay pals watching, get yourself to Mexico.
For breakfast we had some authentic huevos rancheros
And headed back to the accommodation to collect the bags and then go to the bus station,
where we got to sit for half an hour with the relaxing background noise.
The bus took 2 hours and it went from Cancun to Tulum,
which was the perfect amount of time to watch Star Wars, which they played the whole way through.
We arrived in downtown Tulum and then made our way to the accommodation,
which was Casa Abanico, by far the best accommodation we've stayed at so far, with an incredibly comfortable double bed, a lovely table here for eating breakfast at, and a delightful bathroom with shampoo, conditioner and shower gel. and check out this shower pressure. Oh yeah.
It also had this little common room upstairs where you could cook your own food or just chill out if you wanted to. We had a little wander around the town, but you could see that it was mainly built for tourists.
Not a lot going on except for tours and tat shops, but we had a fantastic meaty torta from a local restaurant.
Protein. And then we finished the night with 5 heated rounds of Monopoly Deal. Obviously I won.
I would say no.
The next morning we received our wake-up call from the Hotel Cockroach.
Then we attempted to flag down a local collectivo, but after 5 minutes of full collectivos just passing by, we just decided to sack it off and walk. Tulum is absolutely covered in cenotes, so we decided to visit one that was more local and less touristy. So we picked Cenote Cristal.
The water was crystal clear, and as we got there early in the morning, we were pretty much the only ones there. After a little swim and snorkel, we grabbed a hammock each and chilled out until mid-afternoon.
There were also loads of divers here because there's a massive cave system underwater that you can explore. But we'll just stick to jumping in and chilling on a hammock for now.
And then we were greeted by this slatty-breasted wood rail who came to say hello.
In the evening we managed to catch a collectivo to the beach, which was absolutely stunning, but it was rammed with people, not that you can tell from this video.
And not just any people, the worst kind of people.
Influencers. So after laughing at them for a while during golden hour, and after Jack had finished getting smashed about by the waves,
we headed a bit further down to another section of the beach to watch the pelicans enjoying their dinner.
And then it was time for ours. We had a torta, some quesadillas, and some agua frescas, which is a blend of water with fruits, seeds, and flowers. Didn't realise the grande would be quite this grande. After morning fizz and some more travel planning, we said goodbye to the friendly neighbours and then packed our bags ready to head to the bus station. You'd think we'd have the packing down to a fine art now, but no, that's not the case. It took about 50 minutes.
This bus was heading from Tulum to Bacalar, and the journey took around 3 hours. This is our hotel for the 2 days, Hotel Laura. The entranceway, very nice wide bed with mosquito net, which was very much required. Fridge and seating area. And here's the bathroom with, again, moderate shower pressure.
And we went out for an early dinner with some agua frescas. We shared a chicken burrito and some chicken and beef sopes, which is a bit like a taco, but the base is a fried cornflower shell. Bacalar is known for its lagoon, so we headed out to try and have a look for it before it got too dark. The lagoon is the world's largest freshwater bacterial reef and has this square 800-metre long open air pier, which means people can catch a good look at it without disturbing the environment. You can even jump off into it, into the water, so you can swim in the safe sections. Gracefully demonstrated by Jack.
The area is known as the Seven Coloured Lagoon. The changes in water colour are due to the cenotes of differing depths up to 100 metres. These are linked to other water sources in the local area via limestone caves underneath the city. In the evening we indulged in some margaritas and then had a walk through the local market. The next day we'd booked a boat trip to go and see the Seven Coloured Lagoon. We stopped up at 4 different cenotes on the lagoon, and then the final stop was the Island of the Birds.
I decided to wear my life jacket so I could just float and let Jack pull me around, which I thought was really relaxing. It did end up getting bored, but he did stick with it for a good while. And then he got too tired and tried to swim away from me, so I just clung onto him with my legs. The only issue was the fact you're not allowed to wear sun cream when you enter the lagoon, because it can damage the stromatolites, which are ancient, fragile microbial mats that are vital to the lagoon's ecosystem. So we headed back to the accommodation to attempt to cool down my now crispy arms. That evening, Jack headed out for BJJ training, so I stayed in to do some uni work.
And then when I got back, we headed out for some churros.
Then we got up and changed up fizz a bit, tried to make it a little bit harder with some incline press ups, some weighted squats, and then Jack nearly removed my new fresh ear piercing with his dismount. With the bags packed, it was time to head to the bus station again, which was a 40-minute walk away. Made better by spicy salsa popcorn at the bus station.
We went from Bacalar to Chetumal and the bus was only about 45 minutes. After another sweaty 40-minute walk, we grabbed some food. I would show you best, but she'd almost scranned it by the time I got my phone out.
We stayed in Departamento Orellano, which was actually quite nice because it was a full-blown apartment. And we haven't stayed anywhere yet with all these amenities. And there's a little bathroom here. And again, decent shower pressure, although there is no hot water.
Chetumal can best be described as the Skegness of Mexico, which is a nice way of saying it's a bit run down and the sea is brown. We walked onto this large pier to see the Mega Escaltera, which is a large viewing platform. From what we could see, it never opened to the public and has just sat there empty. There was, however, this lovely statue of Bob Marley.
They also have these weird little benches everywhere, so you can actually face each other when you're sitting down, which is nice.
After not a fantastic night's sleep, we had a walk down to the other waterfront as we needed to print off some documents for our border crossing to Belize. Again, the water's reminding us of the east coast of England.
It did have some cool monuments though, and then we walked through a feminist protest. Then we got an Uber to the bus station because we couldn't be bothered walking, and then had a dodgy looking street sandwich. The bus was meant to take 3 hours, and then we were going to get a water taxi for 45 minutes to the island of Cape. 40 minutes after the bus was meant to have turned up, we went to the desk and we were told that that bus route had actually been cancelled and was no longer running, yet they still sold us the ticket in the first place. We looked for alternative routes to get there, but nothing was running that day. So we booked an extra night in Chetumal and then decided to splash out and book a direct ferry to Cape for the following morning. In true Mexican style, the ferry was an hour late to depart, and it was absolutely crammed full of people. But after about 2 hours of sailing and an hour faffing at immigration, we'd made it to Belize.
I'll see thee.